All of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, December 14th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.53 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,234 per ounce. Zen is trading at $4, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,308. Antiwar.com reports in a vote on Thursday, the U.S. Senate passed SJ Resolution 54 in a vote of 56 to 41. The resolution is a War Powers Act challenge to the unauthorized U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen and would require the U.S. to cease its involvement if a complementary bill passes in the House. 45 years to the day after the War Powers Act was passed, this is the first successful challenge to it. Several amendments were also voted on, with most passing and added to the bill. Senator Young's amendment clarified that this bill includes a prohibition on refueling Saudi warplanes, as both the administration and opponents argued that did not count as war. Senator Cornyn offered and passed 3 amendments, 2 mandating reports be provided, and a third that said despite this bill not being anything about Israel, the opposition to the war in Yemen was not meant to oppose anything the U.S. does with Israel. Senator Tom Cotton was the only one whose amendments did not pass, as both were designed specifically to undermine the bill. The first said the U.S. could stay in the war as long as they claimed to be trying to reduce civilian casualties, while the second said the U.S. could stay as long as they were fighting the Shiite Houthi movement. Both failed handily. The passage of the resolution caps weeks of efforts in the Senate, including multiple votes, which were needed to advance the bill to the point where it would actually get a substantial debate and a vote of its own. The success of this challenge is historic, and yet it is incomplete at this point. House efforts to challenge the Yemen war have repeatedly been derailed by Republican leadership changing rules at the last minute to deny it a proper vote. This almost certainly means no House version will be entertained until January at the earliest, when the new Congress takes over. The Trump administration has loudly opposed this challenge to the Yemen war, arguing simultaneously that it's not really a war and that U.S. support for Saudi Arabia is so critical that it should not matter how bad the war is. Anger at the Saudis over the murder of Jamal Khashoggi is seen to have driven a lot of the last-minute support for this bill. The Senate also unanimously and without objection passed a resolution condemning Saudi Arabia's murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi and expressed the Senate's sense that the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was responsible for that murder. The resolutions passed mostly because the White House had broadly refused to criticize the Saudis over the murder and also refused to blame the prince, despite the CIA expressing strong confidence that the Crown Prince ordered the murder. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports Alabama's Attorney General said on Thursday he will take over the investigation into the killing of a man by police officers who mistook him as a suspect in a shooting at a shopping mall on Thanksgiving night. In a letter to Jefferson County District Attorney Danny Carr, Attorney General Steve Marshall said he made the decision after Carr admitted the presence of a potential conflict of interest and bias between him and other parties in the case. On Thanksgiving night, during Black Friday sales, a police officer in the Birmingham suburb of Hoover shot and killed E.J. Bradford at the River Chase Galleria, believing him to be the gunman in a shooting at the mall that wounded 2 people. Later, police said Bradford was likely not the shooter and that the actual gunman remained at large. A suspect was arrested days later. Marshall said in his letters that the officer who shot Bradford was either the charging officer or a witness in about 20 unrelated cases. The DA's office could be suspected of trying to protect the officer because his testimony might be important in the other cases. Marshall also said the DA had acknowledged personal relationships with some of the protesters who called for the officer who shot Bradford to be criminally prosecuted. Marshall said that in addition to taking over the investigation into Bradford's death, he was taking over the investigation of the 2 people wounded in the mall shooting. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
To help you understand how dangerous narcotics operations have persisted despite decades of bold efforts to completely mishandle the problem, we now present The Onion Explains, the drug trade. The cartels remain as powerful as ever. Experts say that the only solution is to eliminate the demand for illegal drugs by instead getting buzzed on common household products, like cough syrup. Not only do items such as nail polish remover and model glue get you ripped if you really breathe that in, they also help shrink the market for cartel drugs. Cartels would stand to lose billions if even a third of the people using their cocaine or methamphetamine instead huffed Freon, which will knock you right on your ass just as quickly. It's easy to get by cracking open an air conditioner. If enough people realize that keyboard cleaner will put you in a insane trance and that it's just sitting there right now in your desk drawer, the costly war on drugs could very well end tomorrow.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in lines here momentarily, where you can call in and join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. The us in studio tonight is Darryl,
Chris,
and Jackie.
And coming up, Chris, you've got a story about the European Union Parliament doing something horrible again, which, surprise, surprise, the sun came up today, it went down in the evening, and the EU Parliament did something bad. But you also have a story about crypto use increasing, and we'll get into that as well. But let's start with something that, well, I've seen some people get all kinds of frustrated and upset about this, mainly conservatives who are like, this is just the start of free college for everybody. These damn snowflakes are getting their college debt wiped away. Headline:
taxes go up.
Department of Education, Federal Department of Education, is canceling $150 million of student loan debt. Now let's actually jump into the story here. The U.S. Department of Education is sending emails to about 15,000 people across the country telling them, you've got money. These are former students and some parents of students who took out loans for colleges that shut down between November 1st, 2013 and December 4th, 2018. About half attended campuses run by Corinthian colleges. They will all get money back or have their debt forgiven, an estimated $150 million, all told under a provision called the Automatic Closed Schools Discharge. As part of the Obama-era crackdown on for-profit colleges like ITT Tech and Corinthian colleges, the Department of Education wrote something called the Borrower Defense Rule. It specified how students could get their loan money repaid if the schools were found to be shady. Borrowers had to submit an application and show how they were being defrauded. But if the school was shut down altogether, the loan discharge was supposed to be automatic. And this is something, Jackie, that you brought up before the show, is this is basically the Department of Education doing something that they said that they were going to do, but somehow, oops, there was a glitch and we didn't do it.
Yeah, I believe it was part of the 2007, Higher Education Affordability Act.
But
I'm
I
not sure if I got
is
the whole word.
If the schools were fraudulent, why were they getting money in the first place?
Because it's not that hard to set up a fake college and scam the federal government out of money.
Trump University made millions of dollars. It was a big giant scam because he didn't do what he actually said he was going to do, and he's in court right now on it, even though he's had numerous lawyers try filing things saying, I'm the president, I can't be taken to court. When, no, actually you can, because all of this stuff happened before you were president, and you knew that you were defrauding people. So if it's a college that has received accreditation, you can get a loan to go there.
So accredited schools that are fraudulent.
Right. So
what's the point of the accreditation?
Well, once they realize that the school is basically running a fraud, then the accrediting entities are supposed to revoke the accreditation like they just did with a bunch of for-profit colleges that I forget who was running. I think it was a group called ACE, like the American College Enterprise, I think was the name of it. Mm-hmm. And they said, all right, everybody that's currently in class, at the end of your semester, we're shutting down, but we're going to let you finish whatever classes you're currently taking.
Okay.
So basically, as I'm reading this, where it says the loan discharge is supposed to be automatic, the people whose colleges are shutting down on basically December 31st of this year, their student loans should be forgiven.
Now, what happens if the college shuts down, but you already graduated? Is it still forgiven? Is it automatic?
This says something about students getting repaid loan money if the schools were found to be shady. They would have to submit an application and show how they were defrauded, but if the school shuts down altogether, the loan discharge was supposed to be automatic. Let's continue with the story plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450 free. Under Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, the department took a series of steps to try to delay borrower defense from going into effect, as it was supposed to do in the summer of 2017. She called it a, quote, muddled process that's unfair to students and schools and puts taxpayers on the hook for significant cost. No, Betsy, what puts taxpayers on the hook for significant cost is the law that I believe the one that Jackie referenced that was passed in 2007 that basically says that all student loans are now federally backed. Asterisk, unless you somehow have enough collateral as an 18-year-old to be able to get a loan on your own.
Yeah, so there's a couple different things. So in 2007, they basically changed it so that student loans aren't really loans anymore.
Right.
And it's basically you're signing yourself up for a future progressive income tax because they will eventually forgive the balance if you sign up under income-based repayment. So you're not making a payment based on the loan amount like you would for most types of loans. Right. You're making a payment based on your taxable income. And then after 10 years, if you work in like nonprofit, education, healthcare, or government, they forgive the balance. And for everybody in the for-profit sector, it's 30 years.
Continuing on here, the Department of Education lost in court repeatedly because they tried delaying what was supposed to have gone into effect, and they also missed a key technical deadline for replacing the rule. In October, a federal judge ordered that the department begin forgiving loans under the rule. Now, per a statement, the government seems to be complying with the closed school portion of the rule, at the very least. Since 2013, 3,600 schools have closed at least one campus, according to the National Student Legal Defense Network, an advocacy group that has filed many lawsuits against the Department of Education. Education Corporation of America, so it's ECE. I knew I had the letters, I just had them in the wrong order. ECE, another for-profit college chain, officially closed on December 5th, stranding another 20,000 students. So the department's liability could ultimately mean more than millions of dollars beyond the initial $150 million being returned or canceled, according to the NSLDN.
Now, just to clarify, when I looked on the Education Department announcement, this isn't just like, oh, if you went to college and your college closed, you get money back. This is people who the college closed before they could finish their degree. So it's not really, I mean, you know.
So if they got the degree, they're not getting anything back?
If it was a fraudulent college, they can get money back. But what if you were enrolled in a for-profit school and it just closed in the middle of nowhere before you could finish your degree program, then you're getting your student loans discharged. You don't have to pay that money back because you didn't end up actually graduating. You don't have the credential.
I wonder what happens if you went on to a different school.
There's a thing where I'm looking here, it looks like if you were able to transfer to another Title IV eligible school within 3 years, then they aren't discharged. Like if you're able to transfer. So it's really, it's not, intended to give people like free education or free degrees.
Get around the law then, or the law can get around actually, discharging it. Because if somebody can, but they don't, then
Yeah, it's basically up to whether or not they're able to go ahead and transfer and still finish their degree. Then they're still on the hook for their loans. But if they're just left in the lurch and unable to finish their degree, then their loans are discharged. Or if it turns out that their college was fraudulent in some way and wasn't actually giving them an education or transferable credits.
Okay.
So
Right.
it's not just giving out free college.
Right, and that's the thing, transferable credits, because there are some schools that might say that they're accredited, but they actually aren't. There might be schools where, for whatever reason, nobody wants to accept the credits from that school because, they just pass everybody. Well, then your credits are worthless. Your calls and thoughts welcome about this or whatever is on your mind. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got the Discord on-air call-in lines available over at discord.lrn.fm. This is Free Talk Live.
When do you want to spot that burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's in? Ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while his family was home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a package thief. Blink motion-activated cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. Save up to a whopping 40% off all add-on cameras and systems through December 22nd while supplies last. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you could move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
And here's Mike's best offer ever. MyPillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special plus free shipping. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-951-5617 and use promo code FTL. That's 50% off plus free shipping. Don't delay. Order now.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
Now, you also said in another video that the moon is an iPod. Can you explain that one?
I believe the moon, the reason why it turns the color that it does is because it fills up with the humidity and water from the transmission of electrons or electricity. I believe that we're upside down being pulled by magnets right now. The actual ocean is in the sky, and they're reserving that sky. The reason we have thunder and lightning is because of the shock waves that go through the two skies up above. Otherwise, where's the thunder and lightning going to come? Because there's no way the clouds are that thick, or the planes wouldn't be able to go through it.
Have you ever been abducted by aliens?
No. Wait a second. Hold on a second. I think so. 45 minutes every single night.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That is the toll-free call-in line. It's how you can call in and join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. There's also the Discord on-air call-in lines available over at discord.lrn.fm. And Discord is much more than just call-in lines. There's also chat rooms. That's where trolls live a lot of times, I think. Some of them live under bridges. Some of them live in Discord. But, the sound quality of the Discord call-in lines, generally pretty good. Discord.lrn.fm. Let's go to the phones. And then, Jackie, you've got something called the Bennett Hypothesis. I've not heard of this. But we'll jump into it. But first to David calling in from San Francisco. David, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
You're talking about the privatized schools and the scam colleges. And I don't know if you've, the three of you have ever read, there's a book called Shock Doctrine, and it's by an economist named Naomi Klein. And it's basically about con artists that move into an area after a disaster, and then they get a bunch of contracting contracts to redevelop the area, and then of course they milk the money and split without fixing anything. And the South has been hit by these people for centuries. After every hurricane, there's fly-by-night contractors that come in and say they'll fix your roof or fix your damaged house, and they take the money and run. So the shock doctrine is more about major contractors like Halliburton and the biggest of the big ones, like Blackwater, the security company. And Naomi Klein put this together right after Katrina, and Katrina is 13 years ago. And when Katrina ripped into New Orleans, these major contractors came in with the help of Bush, and they squeezed out any of the locals and snagged up all of the contracts. And the current Secretary of Education is Betsy DeVos.
Yep.
Ended up with the school districts of New Orleans. Many of the parishes were privatized over to her company. And so they've got a crappy education system down there that's privatized to the current Secretary of Education, and she's working her best to make sure that she can snag every other area in the country. And so it's I've mentioned on to some of the other hosts that Trump is organized crime. There's just no doubt of it now. When you start looking at these Mueller indictments of Cohen, in the various things that he's been working on, he's basically the strong-arm thug to convince people that they better do something. And so they just, the shock doctrine lays it out that there are people in corrupt government, and in the case of George Bush, when Katrina happened, many of these same people, like Blackwater, moved into an area, shot people dead, just made all sorts of threatening moves to drive people out of the. There were buildings that were not affected at all by the hurricane, but Blackwater moved into the area and evicted people, and then the redevelopment agencies snagged it up.
Yeah, David, to clarify, you're talking specifically about companies that come in on like a government contract or the government agencies, correct? Because
sure, yeah.
This is actually very similar to what happens in other disasters around the world, where we'll see like a famine and they'll do some coordinated response where we'll go in and we'll dump food or we'll dump stuff in the markets, And it actually ends up causing more long-term problems because, as you mentioned, the money doesn't go to the locals. It just, goes back to the farmers in the U.S. and it undercuts and when farmers can't compete with free food and local, contractors can't compete with government contractors that came in and got exclusive contracts because they don't know how the whole request for proposal and government contracting system works.
Oh, it's complicated. I've dealt with it.
Yeah, and it's like, I have too at a previous job. And so this is sort of another example, like, dealing with anything is it's better to just give people money and let them spend it and, allow spontaneous order to happen than to have the government trying to do some sort of central planning where they decide what needs to be rebuilt and then they go out and contract and you have that whole sort of corrupt bidding process and people just sort of learn how to game that system and they're not necessarily the ones that are, best positioned to actually help the community.
There's nobody with an interest to actually solve the problem because it's not their money.
And they don't live there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I disagree with your phrasing of that it's government because I've lived in places where we've got clean government. I've lived in places with dirty government. So it's simply a matter of making sure that you get honest people elected.
Where's that, David? You're talking. Hold on. You were talking about contractors going into Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina. That was, as I understand it, all contracted through FEMA, where the federal government was issuing those contracts. So, no, it's not a thing of get better local government. If the feds come in and say, we're controlling this now, then you're dealing with the feds, and we all know that they're corrupt.
Yeah, and the problem, you see this problem with any sort of like central planning or centralized control is good people aren't motivated to pursue those positions. Like, you don't go after something that lets you control the lives of like thousands or millions of people unless you're kind of sociopathic and driven to want to be in charge of people. So, trying to recruit people to run for office as libertarians is hard because they say, well, I don't want to govern anybody. And right. I have to say, do you want the people who do in office?
Well, if you look at Thomas Paine is one of the founding fathers. He wrote a lot of the catchphrases that, won the Revolutionary War in 1776. He was the one that coined the phrase, the United States of America. These are the times that try men's souls. There were hundreds of phrases that he came up with. And in his first book, it's called Common Sense, he sold it for a nickel at first, and then he dropped it to a penny and made sure that 1/3 of America had a copy of it. 1/3 of the 13 colonies had a copy of it. So he was America's first bestseller. But he, in the opening paragraphs, he lays it out that government is always secondary to society. And society is when people in the neighborhood all believe the same thing. They just common agreement, that you want to keep the litter out of the creek. You want to, make sure that the fences are fixed so that cattle don't escape, or, various things. A village can have a good running society. And once you develop a government is when you have bureaucrats who manage the functions of society. And, so you want to have a good water system or a good sewage system, or a library or something.
Oh, I want all kinds of good things, but government doesn't do that. David, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. Exhibit A, Flint's Water. That was government run.
That was.
That they want to blame free markets. That was all government. This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Refrigerated Cookie Dough. Who would you bake some love for? Find fun and easy baking ideas at tollhouse.com. Kids love doing arts and crafts projects, especially when you join in. Try channeling all that artistic energy into the kitchen and bake up some creative treats together. Think of your art supplies as the frosting, sprinkles, and decorating gels, and use cookies or cupcakes as your canvas. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Jackie.
And today is the 10th day of Bitmas. Bitmas being the 10 days where Bitcoin.com was running some sales on their Bitcoin store over at store.bitcoin.com. And until midnight tonight, Eastern Time, on Friday, December 14th. So if you're listening to the podcast and it's already tomorrow, sorry, you missed out on the 10th day of Bitmas. But what they're doing today is offering 35% off all swag and hardware wallets, plus a free gift when you use code MerryBitmas. That's MERRYBITMAS. Use that at checkout. Again, get 35% off all swag and hardware wallets, plus a free gift on this 10th day of Bitmas. sponsored by Bitcoin.com. And again, the link to that store is store.bitcoin.com, and code good until midnight tonight, Merry Bitmas. So we've been talking about, well, we started off talking about education, and then that sort of went into a broader discussion about government contracts and perverse incentives. And this ties back to colleges where, Jackie, you said that there's something called the Bennett Hypothesis.
Yeah, so the Bennett Hypothesis is as federal student loans availability increases, that tuition will increase to just suck up all the loans.
All right.
And there's been mixed evidence. Most studies actually say that wasn't true, but the one that came out most recently was actually a story on NPR a couple days ago, is how I heard about it, was they found that it wasn't true for every type of college except the for-profit colleges.
So,
because some of them can accept federal loans. They're
Right.
qualified to get federal loans, and some of them aren't. And the ones that are able to get federal loans charge much, much, much higher tuition than the ones that can't.
So they're saying that state-run colleges
Yes.
have not increased their...
They've increased their tuition, but it's not related to the availability of student loans. It's mostly available to state legislatures cutting the funding for the colleges. Like, basically, tuition's been going up, but that's been due more to it's being less subsidized than it used to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it used to be just very, very heavily subsidized. I mean, you hear people talking about, oh, yeah, back in my day, I went to community college and it was like $10 a credit or whatever.
Right.
And it's like they were not paying the full cost. Even, decades ago, that was not the full cost for their education. It was very heavily subsidized.
I'm amazed at the difference between schools in, say, Pennsylvania, in-state tuition and out-of-state tuition compared to, say, New Jersey. New Jersey doesn't do much subsidies for its higher education, but Pennsylvania does. And it was something like $10,000 versus $2,000 difference in terms of price, like substantially higher for out-of-state students, which the $10,000 out-of-state was about what New Jersey was it for in-state.
Yeah. So you do see that. And at the nonprofit private colleges, a lot of them actually have very large endowments, and some of the better ones, if you they do what's the word I'm looking for? They do need blind admissions, where they don't care about whether or not you can pay for it when they decide to let you in.
Okay.
And then they look at your financial aid applications, and if your family can't pay for it, many elite colleges just give you a full ride.
Right.
Yeah, because they can afford it. They just allocate it. And when I was in college, I spent about a year and a half at a private university, and I got substantial it wasn't even scholarship, it wasn't GPA based, but substantial grants from the college.
Yeah, most private schools do grant their kids, even though they're the higher priced.
Right, and
you don't pay the sticker price.
Right,
well,
exactly.
let's make sure that we're clear of the distinction here. So there are two types of private schools. There are the private for-profits and the private non-profits.
Yes.
Oh, this is a good point. Yeah.
So like Yale, Harvard, those are private non-profits.
Yes.
And the University of Phoenix, private for-profit.
Yes.
Right.
So the private non-profits, a lot of them are religious, meaning that there's some church organization behind them. There's one down in, I believe it's Branson, Missouri. I forget the name of the college, but they wind up making sure that nobody graduates with any debt. They do not let anybody take out loans. What they do is they have the students work for the school to pay the difference of what they're able to afford versus what the cost is.
So they're running their own work-study program, basically.
You work in the bookstore for the next semester, and that pays off the difference between what you were able to afford and what your tuition should be.
Yeah, now every now and then you will get a college that is nominally not for profit, but is definitely being run to enrich somebody.
Right.
Liberty University.
Yes. Yeah, so is there more on this Bennett hypothesis? Like, do they actually jump in and show some of the numbers?
I mean, as I said, there's been numerous studies. If you just Google Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's and hypothesis, you can find them if you want the really academic stuff, scholar.google.com. But the latest thing on NPR was basically, because they've been studying this, the hypothesis is a few decades old. So they've been studying it over and over again. I think the last major one was 2010 or so was when the last major paper was published. And this is, in economics journals that a lot of this is being published. And it actually said, no, we found this isn't true. And so the new story that came out this week on NPR was saying, okay, maybe it is true for one type of college, for-profit private schools.
Right.
But because that's where they actually see a correlation between the availability of loans and tuition charges. Everywhere else, though, it's because the state colleges, because the state legislatures are no longer subsidizing the education as heavily as they once did.
All right. Yeah. Because when you first said, tuition isn't rising because of, it made it sound as though, somebody that doesn't actually read past the headline, they're going to think, wait a second, they're saying that tuition isn't rising at state colleges, and I can just look at numbers and see that it's happening. Yeah. So they might think, is this 1984 where the chocolate ration increased to 15 grams?
And it's rising above the rate of inflation, too.
Yes,
so
by a lot.
You would assume that... Yeah.
Yeah. So tuition is definitely rising at state universities, but it's not because of the Bennett hypothesis. It's not because of the availability of student loans in most cases. Like we're talking about an average of all the thousands of colleges across the country. There will, of course, be some where the administration's like, woohoo, free money.
Right.
Where it is at that particular university, it is mostly rising because of the pullbacks of the subsidization.
What kind of timeframes are we looking at here? Because, it seems like colleges today, and even when I was in school, which was 2003, 2007, I think. There was just so much waste, it seemed like to me. And this isn't like...
Of course there's a lot of waste.
Government's higher education.
There's a lot... I've worked in a variety of nonprofit, for-profit, and government things, and there's just a lot of waste everywhere, sadly. True. Now, the issue is if it's state-funded, and they can always just go get more money from the taxpayers, then if they're more wasteful than everyone else in the industry, they're not necessarily going to go out of business.
I think seemed kind of funny to me, actually, is it seemed like to me college, which was government, and I went to a government elementary and high school, and it seemed like there was less waste at those levels than there was at the college level.
It depends entirely on the school, and it may be when you're younger, you're not going to see really what's going on. You don't know what's going on with the administration, et cetera.
Behind the scenes, maybe.
Pardon? Yeah, like when you're in second grade, you don't know what the principal's doing and how many just useless pieces of paper are being filed.
Well, the only thing I can think of is maybe the funds for teaching are very high in terms of elementary and high school, but not so much for at least college, because there's a lot of what do you call them, temporary teaching, I guess?
Adjuncts,
yeah.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. What's your experience with college, whether it be for-profit, not-for-profit, private, public? 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That's how you can call in toll free and join us. Or there's also the Discord on-air call-in lines over at discord.lrn.fm. So I did pull up something. I'm not entirely positive what this is, other than a very lengthy report that was done by somebody for the Economics of Education Review. I'll just read the highlights here, and then we'll jump into, well, since we're kind of talking about government corruption, story about a former Langley Air Force Base secretary and how corrupt she was. But the author of this piece, Douglas Weber, says that through his studies and research, he found that for every $1,000 per student that was cut from a state budget, the average student paid $257 more in tuition and fees.
Can you repeat that? It was for every
$1,000 per student that was cut in a state budget, the average student paid $257 more in tuition and fees.
So we should basically cut all funding then.
Right, cut all funding, and then college winds up costing 75% less, roughly.
What? No. It's there's other things where they get money besides from the students. Like, they get grants and they find other ways to fund things.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of federal money out there that gets chased by universities.
Right. I'm just pointing out that for every $1,000 per student that's removed from state funding, it doesn't equate to a $1,000 per student increase.
Yeah.
So if we cut all of the state funding, college should be roughly 75% cheaper for students.
So it'll become affordable.
It would be more affordable, in theory.
No, the tuition's going up. Like, you're talking about the overall cost to educate a student. See, what you're not realizing in the case, and was this community colleges or just universities? Because at universities...
Oh, no, this is the thing linked to from NPR talking about the Bennett Hypothesis.
Yeah, so what they do also at universities, and they go after federal grant funding for research, and you have, on top of that, you go through with the employees who are going to be on there, and you have a percentage for their fringe benefits, and then you have another percentage for the overhead. And so they find ways to charge as much to that as possible to the grants. So you would have to look at how much federal money is coming in as well. And I suspect, having worked as a research administrator, that they're replacing some of their funding that they used to get from the state government with federal grants, and they're finding ways to assign as many costs as possible to those federal grant budgets.
Yeah, that's not mentioned in the highlights of this thing done by Douglas Weber, and I'm not going to spend time going through...
Because there's more sources of income.
41 pages of his report.
Because you have to keep in mind, like, colleges and universities have multiple sources of income. So there's the tuition students pay, there's the loans that they get, there's the funding that they get from, the state legislature as part of their budget at the state colleges. But then if it's a university that does any kind of research, they're going to have research grant money as well. If they have a sports program, they're going to have income from the sports program. Yep. And, a lot of times they're doing a lot of public-private partnerships with businesses. They're getting income there. So you can't just look at tuition and state funding and get a complete picture of where the money's coming from.
Right. And most of the time with sports, that money stays in the athletic department. So, money from the University of Alabama having a really good football team isn't funding the chemistry department. It's funding the athletic department. So let's talk about government corruption some more. Langley Air Force Base secretary faked payroll for 17 years, wound up giving herself a nice little raise. The Pilot Online, which is a newspaper out of Virginia, it appears, has the story here about a former employee at Langley Air Force Base who admitted on Wednesday that she bilked the federal government out of almost $1.5 million, mainly by, quote, faking the amount of overtime she worked for 17 years. Michelle Holt, 52, was a civilian secretary at the base, where she worked in the Communications Support Squadron of the Air Combat Command. She pled guilty in U.S. District Court in Newport News to felony charges that she undertook a long-running effort to boost her own pay. Between December 2001 and July 2018, she falsely claimed 42,847 overtime hours that she did not actually work. And this was according to a statement of facts that was filed by her lawyer, and prosecutors on Wednesday as part of the plea agreement. The ruse began slowly at first. In late 2001, she used a coworker's login information without that coworker's knowledge to get into the Department of Defense computerized paid database. She retroactively added 15 hours of overtime to her paycheck. As time went on, Holt's retroactive additions to her overtime became a regular occurrence, according to the statement. She began to get bolder, particularly in 2008, when her overtime pay began to double her regular salary.
Wow.
In 2017, Holt's salary was $51,324. She took home $119,585 in overtime pay.
So, wow, that's like $160,000 a year?
Yeah, so basically she more than tripled her salary.
I've got the wrong job.
What, you want to be a corrupt secretary for the Department of Defense who's now going to federal prison? Because that doesn't sound like a good idea.
Yeah, but for everyone that gets that doesn't get away with it, how many do?
See, this is why you need to have good accounting controls. The person who's...
Which the government doesn't have.
Yes. Well, if they're doing things properly, they should. So a general principle is whoever keeps the records of the money coming in and out needs to be a different person than the person who has the authority to spend the money.
Yes. We have a mutual friend, I'm not going to say who, lives in a town a couple towns away, where the town clerk wound up giving herself a nice pay raise after somebody got fired. When it was realized that she had given herself this nice pay raise after someone got fired, somebody brought it up and said, hey, wait a second, we never authorized her to wind up getting $50,000 for her job. Wait, she started getting this money when we fired this person. Let's go back and check those records. The town clerk also keeps the official minutes of town council meetings.
Oh.
She had fabricated the meetings to show that they went into an executive session, and the person that was listed as having voted to go into executive session and seal those meeting minutes says that he never voted to ever go into executive session and always voted against any motion to seal meeting minutes. So why would he have made a motion and voted to do so? So I believe that's currently in court and being investigated by the New Hampshire Attorney General.
Yeah, I mean, this happens in the private sector as well, and that's why, in a lot of financial institutions, they have mandatory vacation. Because somebody else has to come in at least 1 week out of the year and do your job and look at your records and make, and if there's a drastic change in how things, how the numbers shake out when you're on vacation, then, look into that.
Yeah. Back to this case, in 1 2-week period, the statement says that Holt billed the Air Force for 137 overtime hours that she did not work. Though overtime was by far the bulk of the scheme, she also falsified holiday and sick pay. But things began to unravel in June when the Department of Defense's Inspector General's office found discrepancies between her pay and her attendance record. She appeared to get wind that the investigation was afoot. She wrote a coworker on June 18th, quote, "Please keep this between us. Have you all had the Air Force Office of Special Investigations come over here about anything?" End quote. She first told investigators she took extra overtime for only a few months, but an investigator then showed Holt a spreadsheet of her overtime going back 10 years. She said, "I'm in trouble. It was wrong." In Wednesday's plea agreement, she admitted to both charges that she faced, computer fraud and theft of government property. When she's sentenced on March 13th by U.S. District Judge Raymond Jackson, she faces up to 15 years in prison plus fines and forfeitures. So what's going to happen now is she's going to continue getting fed, housed, and clothed at your expense. Yeah, you're paying for this. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Do you need extra cash to buy gifts or just to pay all those extra bills during the holidays? Well, now you can get cash fast this holiday season with a personal loan for up to $5,000 right from your phone or PC at 79cash.com. How fast can you get your cash? Well, with 79cash.com, our lenders can have your cash at your bank account as soon as tomorrow, regardless of your credit history. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 79cash.com and you can get the cash loan you need now. So if you need cash fast this holiday season to buy gifts or pay all those extra bills, go to 79cash.com and get the cash you need. Visit 79cash.com. Type www.79cash.com directly into the address bar. That's 79cash.com. 79cash.com. 79cash.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealestate.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, December 14th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.53 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,234 per ounce. Zen is trading at $4, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,308. Antiwar.com reports in a vote on Thursday, the U.S. Senate passed SJ Resolution 54 in a vote of 56 to 41. The resolution is a War Powers Act challenge to the unauthorized U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen and would require the U.S. to cease its involvement if a complementary bill passes in the House. 45 years to the day after the War Powers Act was passed, this is the first successful challenge to it. Several amendments were also voted on, with most passing and added to the bill. Senator Young's amendment clarified that this bill includes a prohibition on refueling Saudi warplanes, as both the administration and opponents argued that did not count as war. Senator Cornyn offered and passed 3 amendments, 2 mandating reports be provided, and a third that said despite this bill not being anything about Israel, the opposition to the war in Yemen was not meant to oppose anything the U.S. does with Israel. Senator Tom Cotton was the only one whose amendments did not pass, as both were designed specifically to undermine the bill. The first said the U.S. could stay in the war as long as they claim to be trying to reduce civilian casualties, while the second said the U.S. could stay as long as they were fighting the Shiite Houthi movement. Both failed handily. The passage of the resolution caps weeks of efforts in the Senate, including multiple votes, which were needed to advance the bill to the point where it would actually get a substantial debate and a vote of its own. The success of this challenge is historic, and yet it is incomplete at this point. House efforts to challenge the Yemen war have repeatedly been derailed by Republican leadership changing rules at the last minute to deny it a proper vote. This almost certainly means no House version will be entertained until January at the earliest, when the new Congress takes over. The Trump administration has loudly opposed this challenge to the Yemen war, arguing simultaneously that it's not really a war and that U.S. support for Saudi Arabia is so critical that it should not matter how bad the war is. Anger at the Saudis over the murder of Jamal Khashoggi is seen to have driven a lot of the last-minute support for this bill. The Senate also unanimously and without objection passed a resolution condemning Saudi Arabia's murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi and expressed the Senate's sense that the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was responsible for that murder. The resolutions passed mostly because the White House had broadly refused to criticize the Saudis over the murder and also refused to blame the prince, despite the CIA expressing strong confidence that the Crown Prince ordered the murder. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports Alabama's Attorney General said on Thursday he will take over the investigation into the killing of a man by police officers who mistook him as a suspect in a shooting at a shopping mall on Thanksgiving night. In a letter to Jefferson County District Attorney Danny Carr, Attorney General Steve Marshall said he made the decision after Carr admitted the presence of a potential conflict of interest and bias between him and other parties in the case. On Thanksgiving night during Black Friday sales, a police officer in the Birmingham suburb of Hoover shot and killed E.J. Bradford at the River Chase Galleria area, believing him to be the gunman in a shooting at the mall that wounded 2 people. Later, police said Bradford was likely not the shooter and that the actual gunman remained at large. A suspect was arrested days later. Marshall said in his letters that the officer who shot Bradford was either the charging officer or a witness in about 20 unrelated cases. The DA's office could be suspected of trying to protect the officer because his testimony might be important in the other cases. Marshall also said the DA had acknowledged personal relationships with some of the protesters who called for the officer who shot Bradford to be criminally prosecuted. Marshall said that in addition to taking over the investigation into Bradford's death, he was taking over the investigation of the 2 people wounded in the mall shooting. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
U.S. presidents often take credit for solving complex issues with many moving parts, whether they deserve that credit or not. But how much impact can a sitting president really have on the tides? We all know that presidents like to take credit for the undulations of the briny deep, when it suits them, that is, and we Americans are quick to blame whoever is in power for the multitudinous seas. During Eisenhower's administration in the 1950s, citizens took to the streets to protest his inability to harness the unruly waves, but Ike shifted blame for the tides that year onto a heron that had recently been born with a raven's head. But the truth is, when a president is in office, there's only so much he can do. Sure, the president can bring an amulet with the Eye of Horus to the top of the tallest peak, or spread lamb's blood on the base of an elm tree during a lunar eclipse. In reality, it's hard for anyone to know with true certainty how the tides will play out under any administration. For The Onion, I'm Eliza Hayes.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and we are kicking off hour number 2. And you are free to call in and talk live with us. 855-450-FREE is the toll-free call-in line, plus there's the Discord on-air lines that you can find over at discord.lrn.fm. The us in studio tonight is Darryl.
And Chris.
And Jackie.
And we started off the show talking about the Department of Education doing something that, well, originally they said they were going to do and then tried to delay doing, but now they're actually doing, and that is canceling the student loan debt of some students that had gone to private for-profit colleges that were found to be fraudulent that have since shut down. Some of those schools shut down while the students were still there. Some shut down after students graduated. So not entirely sure who all is getting the student loan wiped away. But when I saw this earlier today, I heard people, or I didn't hear, I read the comments of, oh, this is the beginning of free college for everybody. The feds are just wiping away student debt. Well, no, not exactly. And from there, we talked a little bit about the Bennett Hypothesis, where, again, there's the, I guess, the hypothesis that as student loans become more available, tuition will increase. And, Jackie, you found some research that says that, all right, yeah, sure, tuition has increased at state-run schools, but that is generally related to a reduction in funding from
state budget
the states.
Cuts, yeah.
And then, like there's other things that attribute to that. But as Chris pointed out, the increases are still above the rates of inflation.
Yes. Yes. So tuition's going up everywhere. But the latest research is the Bennett Hypothesis applies to private for-profit colleges.
Right. Not private, non-profit colleges, which also exist. And there are some people that they'll just say private college and then mention like University of Phoenix and try to also demonize, the
Harvard.
local.
Yeah.
Well, I can think of, just like
seminary school.
Some small church-run school where they're not trying to make a profit at all, and they're just trying to, get some people an education. So, people will use the term private to refer to all of that and then demonize everybody because University of Phoenix did something.
Yeah.
Or, as was mentioned in that NPR article, the ECA, the Education Corporation of America, that wound up closing their doors about 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And, well, I guess, when for-profit schools wind up closing their doors, that means that a lot of teachers get laid off, and if they're not financially stable themselves, they might wind up being homeless, but they won't be on Sesame Street. But apparently there's now a Muppet on Sesame Street that is homeless, but according to an article that I'm seeing, the homeless puppet won't actually be on TV. She's going to be in the YouTube videos and books and other educational materials to discuss the topic of homelessness with children. But there's been a lot of
internet debate. Yesterday, all over my Facebook, everybody was arguing about whether or not Lily really is the first homeless character on Sesame Street, or if Oscar the Grouch should count because he lives in a garbage can.
All right.
And I learned more about Sesame Street than I ever knew was possible.
All right. So what was it? About 2 weeks ago, you went to a city-run homelessness forum.
Yes.
And they gave a definition of homeless.
Yes. So what's apparently used by the HUD, Housing and Urban Development Department, is if people are, obviously sleeping on the street, or if they're living somewhere that's not originally intended for human habitation.
All right.
So like in a car or...
Right. So I'm thinking here, and these are Muppets. Muppets aren't human. So we need a completely new definition of homeless to determine who the first homeless Muppet actually is.
But so even if that aside, because whether or not...
Because, garbage cans obviously not fit for human habitation.
Yeah, and there's a whole other debate to be had.
But are they fit for Muppet habitation?
And there's a whole other debate to be had about whether Muppets should be subjected to human laws and norms. But what it turns out...
Where does Snuffleupagus live?
Yeah, in Big Bird's head, obviously. But... Oscar the Grouch, it turns out that they've gone down into the garbage can. So I'm a little...
Who's gone down into the garbage can?
Elmo. I guess there was an episode where they showed it, and it's actually got this whole underground thing, but there was a recent...
So Oscar has an underground bunker.
Yes.
Nice.
But it's also a portal to Grouchland, where a whole bunch of other Grouches like Oscar live, and they all love trash. So...
And they even sing a song about it. I love trash.
Sounds like the show's getting much more interesting than when I was a kid.
So I guess, and maybe they're just not keeping the because this show's been on the air for 50 years?
It's been on for a long time.
So I think there's some continuity errors here, because apparently there was an episode in which they went down into the trash can, and he has this whole, nice bunker house down there with a bunch of trash in it because he likes it, but it's also a portal. And so then people started debating, okay, if he has come from Grouchland to Sesame Street through a portal, is he an illegal alien? So this was my Facebook all day yesterday, because people, I don't know, they'll argue about anything.
So I tend to err on the side. You said there was also discussion about should Muppets be subjected to human norms and human rules. I would say no, because they're Muppets, which means that they're not real.
Yeah,
just like Thanos and Super Spider-Man, they're not real.
I'm saying within the context of their fictional world. Within their world, what is the law enforcement situation in Sesame Street if a Muppet breaks a crime?
Mr. Hooper.
Breaks the law or commits a crime.
Mr. Hooper, obviously, he's packing heat.
But really, are they just like some sort of weird fairy creatures that do what they want?
Probably.
You know, because like what is this, you know, the world of Sesame Street, how does it relate to the larger world? Like, is this where all the Muppets live, or is this like the Pokemon universe where, you know, they're everywhere and like humans and Pokemon coexist?
No, so obviously...
Or are they all concentrated in this ghetto of Sesame Street?
But humans and Muppets do coexist because there are humans on Sesame Street.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, is it everywhere worldwide? Like in Pokemon universe, there's Pokemon all over the place, right?
And there's
or are there only a few Muppets and they all live in this ghetto in Sesame Street?
No, there are Muppets that don't live on Sesame Street. There's the Muppets that are the movie reviewers that live up in the theater balconies.
Where's the theater located? Maybe it's on Sesame Street.
It's off Broadway.
Where is Sesame Street? It's in New York, right?
There's actually a Sesame Street not too terribly far from here.
The in-universe Sesame Street.
I'm not sure.
We need some
try
experts
to figure this out. Maybe Sarah knows what the pedestrian fatality rate is in Sesame Street. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, I would like to talk about real people. Did you know that here in New Mexico, we're actually beginning to test rape kits?
Hold on, say that again?
Rape kits, you know.
Right, no, what about them? You were cutting out as you said you're asked to something.
Well, you remember we used to have like 40,000 untested backlog rape kits going back 20 years.
All right.
So it sounds like we have tested like a 1,300.
Yeah, that's not a lot.
Kits.
Okay, so the good news for you, Sarah, is it says on the news that New Mexico Crime Lab has cleared their rape kit backlog. So there's definitely still other states that have a rape kit backlog, but it's done at the state level, and apparently New Mexico announced today that they have cleared their rape kit backlog in New Mexico.
That's good news, Sarah. Thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And yeah, let's try to figure out where exactly is Sesame Street. No, don't tell me how to get there. Tell me where it is. This is Free Talk Live.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dinovite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies, grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it, and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dinovite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic
and Cindy Lukasevic,
inviting you and your pets to Dinovite.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And yeah, we're still trying to figure out a lot of stuff about the Muppets because, well, Muppets are in the news. And when was the last time the Muppets were actually in the news? It's been a while, right? So, like, this is basically a lot of free advertising for the Muppets, which are now owned by Disney, which is kind of weird. But, you know, one thing that we don't think that Muppets have to worry about is like home invasion or package theft. But we live in the real world where those are things that we might, as much as we don't want to think about it, it is something that you need to keep in mind. And, well, what better way to keep an eye on that than with a home security system? And, well, how about the Blink home security system? The Blink home security system has motion-activated indoor and outdoor cameras. They're wire-free. They set up in minutes. They run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. And best of all, you can check in on these on a mobile device, and it works with Alexa. Alexa, check my Blink cameras. The Blink live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at your home, check on your pets, look at the porch to make sure that your packages aren't being stolen, or just get notifications when something moves in front. And the best part, there's no contracts, no subscriptions. The Blink camera systems make a great holiday gift as well, and they're a brilliant way to monitor holiday package deliveries. Save up to a whopping 40% off all add-on cameras and systems through December 22nd while supplies last. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company. So, Jackie, we've been doing some research about the Muppet Nation, I guess.
Muppetverse. Well, actually,
the Muppetverse. I'm still not entirely positive what to call this thing, but we do know that there was the question about, do Muppets and humans coexist?
Worldwide, or are they all just concentrated in Sesame Street,
right,
all the Muppets?
And there's also, I was reminded through my research here, that there is at least one Muppet that resembles a human. Well, not counting the 2 grumpy old guys that live in the theater, there's the Swedish Chef. So we know that Muppets also come from Sweden, and this place in New York that may or may not be Harlem.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, you were talking about Muppets and package theft. Apparently, they could use security cameras in Grouchland because there's a guy there, Huxley, that's been stealing their trash. And that's the plot of Elmo and Grouchland is trying to deal with this guy and get a blanket back and having to unite the Grouches to put an end to Huxley's thieving ways. So there is theft in the Muppetverse.
How many? Well, hold on. The question is Grouchland part of the Muppetverse, or is that an alternate dimension?
Well, it's an alternate dimension within the overall Muppetverse. Like if you're looking at like Marvel Comics, you're talking about kind of the Marvel multiverse as a whole, which has multiple dimensions within it. But you're still talking about within the realm of the Marvel multiverse. So within the realm of the Muppet multiverse, they do have theft in the Grouchland dimension.
And since the Muppets are now owned by Disney and Star Wars is owned by Disney, how long will it be before Muppets make an appearance in a galaxy far, far away?
They already did. Yoda.
He's not a Muppet.
He's a Muppet technology.
But not a Muppet.
What counts? I mean, are we talking about what counts as a Muppet as because it's like the same construction, my understanding is. Like, he was built like Muppets.
But Muppets have, like, felt on them. Yoda isn't felt.
I thought the original Yoda was built by some of the same people, though.
Probably built by the same people.
In the real world.
In the real world, but Yoda is not. Now we're into a whole other discussion. Is Yoda a Muppet?
Well, it was Yoda, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Maybe they traveled here.
Yoda lived in a swamp. So maybe Yoda is the first homeless Muppet.
True. No, he had a little shack. Chris is, I think, just...
I'm bored out of my mind. I had enough of the Muppets. I mean, it was interesting when I was 5.
Well, Chris, I mean, what do you think? Do you think there's Muppets, like the Muppet population? Is it just distributed worldwide and there's streets like Sesame Street everywhere? Or did the humans just gather up all these weird little creatures and herd them into this ghetto in New York?
I thought Sesame Street was a place unique in of itself that didn't exist anywhere else for the Muppets.
Okay, so how do you think maybe the Swedish chef was adopted and that's how he got the Swedish accent and then he returned to Sesame Street? Because Darryl's got a good point about how we know there's at least one Swedish Muppet.
That's true, but he is still a Muppet.
Yeah, but like, was he born in
right, so Sweden? The greater question is, do Muppets exist only on this one particular street, or is that kind of like, just one sort of thing, so that
exclusive to that street.
That's what you thought.
Right, so like
that's your
the
theory.
TV show Friends. It follows 6 people that are friends, but there are more people that are friends outside of that one television show.
Have you ever heard them discussing a place that was not Sesame Street?
No, well, there was the Muppet movie where they went on
Muppets Take Manhattan.
But does that count?
Yeah.
Because that's a movie. That's not the...
Yeah, but it's part of the Muppetverse.
It's all part of the Muppetverse. And one thing that I also stumbled upon, apparently, Muppets were never meant to be child-friendly. Story from allthingsinteresting.com says since its 1958 birth, the iconic Muppet franchise has revolutionized the field of puppetry. Now, the Muppets predate the television show by about 11 years. So the Muppets on TV, they went on TV in 1969. Muppets themselves came about in 1958. They say this fall, and this is from a couple of years ago, the Puppet Crew returns to TV for the first time since 1998. Co-created by Bill Prady and Bob Kuchel, the latest incarnation of the Muppets has already seen its share of controversy, with some deeming the show unsuitable for children. Christian fundamentalist group 1 Million Moms wrote, the puppet characters loved by kids in the 1970s and 80s are now weighing in on interspecies relationships and promiscuity. These concerned moms add their voice to a Muppet-fearing population, which has, over the last couple of years, deemed the puppets everything from Das Kapital-wielding communists to anti-oil lobby minions. The funny thing is, though, that Henson never intended his Muppets to be specifically for children. In fact, he almost turned down his career-making job at Sesame Street because he did not want to be pigeonholed as a children's entertainer. Bob Cushel keeps Henson's intentions alive with the new series, stating, "It's not just about a behind-the-scenes look at the show, but it's the relationship-driven emotional stories that people go through in their personal lives. Everyone in this version of the Muppets wants to push them further in a way that they've never been before." More on this, plus your calls and thoughts, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. And tell me, do Muppets live only on Sesame Street? I don't think they do. This is Free Talk Live.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today and save $10 on the Bug Beam Laser Combo, only at bugassault.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Jackie.
And I'm still curious about, whether Muppets live all over the world. What's the global population of Muppets? Here's another question. How soon until Muppets are actually using cryptocurrency? Now, we know that humans use cryptocurrency, and Chris, you've got a story about the apparent rise in usage of crypto. Where's the story coming from?
I don't know.
All right, but you've got a story.
I do. We'll have to look it up on break.
Not supposed to say break.
All right. So the story is ranks of crypto users swelled in 2018, even as Bitcoin tumbled. So it's an interesting story. So it turns out that the cryptocurrency enthusiasts were committed well beyond the HODL rallying call.
So HODL being a term used by crypto users that there are a lot of people that say, oh, it's an acronym for hold on for dear life. No, it started because some guy was really drunk, tried making a post on the Bitcoin forum, and just kept misspelling hold. But people have taken it and just gone with it of, I'm hodling. So that's what the usage of hodl there means.
All right.
It's like lulz.
Rallying.
Yeah.
Rallying call that urged them to hold on during this year's digital asset market collapse. The number of verified users of cryptocurrencies, now this is interesting, verified users of cryptocurrencies almost doubled in the first 3 quarters of the year, even as the market bellwether Bitcoin tumbled almost 80%, according to a study from Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance. Users climbed from 18 million to 35 million this year.
All right, so hold on. They're saying some words, and I understand all of the words that were said, but some of what they wrote doesn't seem to make any logical sense. So they say in the first quarter of the year, users went up.
Doubled in the first 3 quarters of the year.
Right. And then they mentioned about a plummet of 80%. Well, the drop happened in the 4th quarter of the year. So they're making it sound as though the price dropped by 80% over the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, they're using words, they're just not using them correctly.
Well, we're still in the 4th quarter of the year, so if they're talking about the first 3 quarters of the year, it's probably because that's what they have data. And it's Bloomberg, by the way. Okay. I found the article.
Yeah, I couldn't, unfortunately, print it without copying and stuff, pasting it. So
I know that we're currently in the 4th quarter, but I'm just pointing out that the tumble in price has happened over the last couple of months. It wasn't a tumble in price in the first part of the year.
Okay. So the figures may provide a silver lining. If the user numbers continue to increase, even in a deep market downturn, that could signal that an eventual recovery could be coming, a crucial finding at a time when some critics predict that the value of cryptocurrencies will go down to 0.
All right, So people have been saying it's going to go down to 0 every time there's been a market downturn over the last almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And every time there's a downturn, the floor is still higher than what the previous ceiling was.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, okay, so Darryl, you were talking about the price drop not being at the beginning of the year. I don't know if you remember what year we're in, dear, but the year started out, it was over 15,000. And then there's been a new price drop recently. But remember, it was only a year ago when Bitcoin peaked.
Right. I thought it was December of last year.
Yeah, but it
peaked, and I thought it was below 10,000 at the beginning of this year.
Let me see. I'm on the little graph here. January 1st, it says, I'm not very good at the mouse, 13,480 January 1st for Bitcoin. So there definitely was a huge tumble. It went up and down quite a bit.
Right.
And then we've had another big drop over, the last, month or so. So, yes, it's all still 2018. I know it feels like it's been longer.
Yeah. It feels like it's been like 5 crypto years since the last, Happy New Year celebration that we had.
Yeah, so most users are likely still speculators and long-term investors.
Yes. Well, some of them are short-term investors. And
That's
I
true.
remember last year at the first Free State Blockchain and Digital Asset Conference, I think I got the name correct, where I was on a panel with several other people. Most of them were CEOs of companies that accepted crypto, and they were telling people that they should never use crypto as currency. They should only ever hodl and don't use it as money. It's only investment, blah, 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 blah. These are people that are accepting crypto as payment, telling people don't use it as a payment method.
That's crazy, and I would totally disagree with that as a CEO of a corporation. I say spend your crypto. I want it.
Right, because if the stuff is supposed to be currency and it's not being used as currency, then it's not very good currency.
Right.
Now, we use it as currency here in Keene quite a bit.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've done a great job locally getting businesses to accept it. So, we can buy restaurant food, beer. There's a dentist now. There's a car repair place.
Yep.
There's a hair salon. There's the other Chris's gift shop. What else do we have that's just local in town? Brick and mortar businesses.
Right. We've got
Corner News.
A little corner store.
Lil Zo's.
We've got
Local Burger.
4 different restaurants.
Yep.
I think.
There's a hair salon.
Yes, you already mentioned the hair salon.
she did.
So, there are close to a dozen brick and mortar places in tiny Keene, New Hampshire, where you can actually go use crypto.
And I believe that Ian is trying to work on getting a heating oil company on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's people trying to get all sorts of companies on board, and there's been a regular, consistent, increase in adoption,
right,
by acceptance by business owners doing
right. And one of the objections that I've heard from several different business owners is that the current point of sale system that they're using doesn't integrate with allowing them to take anything other than cash or credit card.
Yeah.
So if somehow one of the major point of sales that offers, here's retail stuff, so like Square, or there's a system that most restaurants wind up using, if they would wind up incorporating this as an option, you'd see a lot more businesses willing to accept it, because as it stands, you have to have them click a button of other form of payment and then open up another app to be able to accept the crypto.
And it's probably sort of an accounting difficulty, because if crypto is trading at one price when you sell the thing and it's trading at another price when you cash it out, you're going to have to set up a whole other thing in your QuickBooks and figure out how to translate it. And it's like, small business owners are already pretty terrible at accounting, and this may be a level of complexity that they don't want to deal with.
Right.
I don't think there's enough enough to make any difference right now in terms of actual
some of the business owners
and accepting it,
because it might be less than 1% of the total amount that's coming in. They'll just hold on to it of, oh yeah, here's some little extra money.
They're going to report it, but they're not reporting it properly. And then what's going to happen is, if somebody ever bothers to audit them, it's going to be a kind of a pain in the neck. But at the end of the day, it's not going to make much of a difference, I don't think.
So, career tip to all bookkeepers and accountants out there: if you figure out good ways to help small business owners account for crypto transactions in their QuickBooks and point of sale system, that's probably going to be a growing field.
QuickBooks has some sort of cryptocurrency thing, I believe, as a functionality built into it already.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
But you have to use certain other softwares or services to be able to integrate. I think Coinbase
I'm not
somehow.
at all familiar with it.
Oh yeah, they got an article on their website telling people how to do it.
And Coinbase recently wound up making a lot of changes to their merchant stuff, to where it's not necessarily as easy for merchants to convert their crypto to US dollars, which was one of the original selling points of Coinbase. It's easy for merchants to accept crypto and convert it to USD, and now they're like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. More on this, plus your calls and thoughts, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Every
everything we tried failed except the Dynavite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
We know you've had Dragon's Breath in the morning, but you've got to experience Dragon's Breath at night. Wolf Hill Ammo's Dragon's Breath, an incendiary shotgun round in 12 gauge, 20 gauge, and a 410 with an amazing muzzle flash and a fireball that launches up to 125 yards. Pure fun to shoot. At Wolf Hill Ammo, we love shotguns and offer the best specialty shotgun ammo on the market. Visit wolfhillammo.com to see our large selection of specialty shotgun ammo at great prices with flat rate shipping. wolfhillammo.com.
You may need this herbal tea for relief right away, so write this down. DRMILLERS clinic.com. If you take meds, then suffer stomach distress, constipation, indigestion, acid reflux, and bloating, and nothing else helps, get Dr. Miller's Holy Tea or Super Holy Tea, a cleansing, detoxifying herbal tea now available at great rates direct from Dr. Miller's office. Call or click 888-660-7039 or DRMILLERS clinic.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Jackie.
And want to make sure that I tell you about liberty.menu. It's a website where you can go, and if you're looking to do business with people that are liberty-minded, you can go there. You can find businesses, events, digital content, and more. Maybe you are a liberty-minded business owner, and you want to reach out to find customers that are like-minded. You can post over at liberty.menu because, again, it's a directory of events, businesses, digital content, and more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, kind of like on Yelp, and there's also a bit of a social networking aspect where you can connect and share with other users. Use of liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at liberty.menu. And because the site is free to use, we can't give you a discount, but we can get you a special Free Talk Live listener badge when you use code FTL after you sign up at liberty.menu. So we've been talking about the apparent increase that, according to the Bloomberg article, is verified users, I think is the term that they
that's
use.
what they used.
There's a story from Bitcoinist that they mentioned this study that was done by the University of Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance, and they say ID verified crypto users, which leads me to believe that they're talking about users on exchanges.
Right. So most users are likely still speculators and long-term investors. Due to the market volatility, cryptocurrencies are barely used in commerce, which I think this is true. It's sort of this unfortunate situation where most people are not living in a place where there are lots of businesses accepting it. Therefore, the only thing they can do is, buy it as an investment. There is no place to spend it except for maybe the dark web and a little bit online.
Dude, there's Save It Purse. There's I was looking and found like 3 different companies that will sell you airline tickets for crypto. There's all kinds of things where you can buy stuff, legal stuff, with cryptocurrency. So I don't buy for a minute that people just don't know that they can spend it. I don't buy that for 1 minute.
Cryptocurrency, it's not just for heroin anymore.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I think to a degree, only because I have to say I'm planning a trip to Europe in January, and I just come across sites and that take cryptocurrency. I mean, I already knew that I could pay for my airline ticket in crypto,
right?
And I could pay for my hotel in crypto. But when I just happen to come across, when I'm looking for sites, nothing to do with Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, and I'm like, oh wow, they take crypto,
right?
That's when it's you're seeing a wider adoption.
I will say that and let me go to coinmarketcap.com to see how many cryptos they list, and they don't list all of them, but they are showing 2,073 cryptocurrencies, and I believe that includes tokens as well. The vast majority of those things, you can't do anything other than speculate and trade on some exchanges. But through coin payments, which is one of these points of sale that some of the online businesses and also some brick and mortars will use, they have, I think it's about 70 different cryptos that people can use. So, there are a good many cryptocurrencies that can be used in everyday life.
Yeah, I think there's probably 3 or 4 of them that are pretty heavily used right now, and I would say probably Monero, Dash, Bitcoin. What else, guys? There's
Well, I'm looking
Bitcoin
again.
Cash a little bit.
I'm on CoinMarketCap, and of course, when you sort by volume, it's showing you all of the volume, not just here's stuff that's not on exchanges.
I don't care about the volume because it means little if all you're doing is exchanging it from one cryptocurrency to another.
Right.
But I want to know what the usage, what people are actually using it to buy stuff.
Right, but based on the volume, you can still see the ones that are the most used. And again, a lot of it is speculative trading, which is why Tether is the second most used thing. But Bitcoin, number 1, Ethereum, number 3, EOS, Litecoin, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, Zcash, and Ether Classic.
Zcash is up there. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they had almost $100 million of volume in the last 24 hours.
I have seen it increasing in terms of adoption. There are some places you can spend Zcash, which I think is cool. But unfortunately, it's still not widely accepted like Bitcoin or Dash.
Yeah. So is there more to this Bloomberg article?
Yeah. So there's a little bit more that I thought would be interesting. So the number of crypto accounts increased as well. The study found a single user can hold multiple accounts. Growth rates were at their highest in 2017, and the number of new user accounts as well as ID verified users continued to rapidly grow in 2018 as well, the study said. So yeah, it's I think it's a pretty interesting story here.
Right, and again, they're only talking about the people that have quote-unquote ID verified accounts, which again would basically be through an exchange or through I guess Coinbase has an exchange, but they're not necessarily an exchange by definition.
What other situation would you be submitting ID in order to use cryptocurrency?
I forget which one it is, but
Maybe
there is one that claims to wind up being some type of like anti-money laundering crypto coin. So they require verification.
Okay.
Some of the tokens, some of the tokens, because they're considered securities by legal definition. And if you're dealing with securities, you've got to go through the know your customer stuff. There was an ICO that I really liked the concept of, and I bought into, and then when they rolled out their thing that was supposed to be a decentralized platform, they wound up saying everybody that's going to use this has to jump through AML KYC. And I was like, that's not decentralized then, and then wound up selling it.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't sound like a decentralized solution to me. But
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's some. I don't even know how you would do some sort of. Maybe there's some way to do decentralized KYMC, but it sort of defeats the purpose of or the value of cryptocurrency to me.
Right, and there was a report that I saw earlier today about some stable coin that wound up. They just returned all of the money and closed up shop because.
Interesting.
So let me explain what a stable coin is.
It's like Tether, presumably, right?
Well, Tether would be a stable coin.
Okay.
But there are other things that would also fit the definition of quote unquote stable coin.
Okay.
Stable coin would be something that tries to stay valued at $1 constantly.
But stable coin was an actual coin, right?
No, stablecoin is not the name of a coin.
Oh, I thought it actually was the name
Stablecoin
of a
is
coin.
the name of a type of coin.
Oh, okay.
So Tether is a stablecoin, but stablecoin is not the name of a coin.
Are there others? What are the others called? Because I was under the impression
Coinbase has one. There was this other thing that just closed up shop, and basically the purpose of these are to be used by exchanges and only on exchanges, so that let's say you have.
Is that really a cryptocurrency then, or is it used on multiple exchanges?
I think Tether is used on multiple exchanges.
Yeah, that's my understanding. But the other ones...
Some of the other ones are only used... So the one that Coinbase has is only used on Coinbase's exchange.
So if Coinbase goes down or goes away, it's gone, right? So is that really a cryptocurrency?
By definition, maybe. Like, it's one of those weird things. But the point is that it remains... pegged to the dollar. And the reason some of these exchanges will use a stable coin is they might not allow exchange from, say, Putin coin to Bitcoin, but they'll let you change your Putin coin to stable coin, and then you can use the stable coin to buy another crypto.
Okay.
So if there's not the exchange that you want to happen, you just exchange it for their stable coin. So there kind of is a purpose, but I wouldn't use it for anything other than that, and then just like get rid of it as soon as you exchange it for what you want. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, December 14th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.53 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,234 per ounce. Zen is trading at $4, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,308. Antiwar.com reports in a vote on Thursday, the U.S. Senate passed SJ Resolution 54 in a vote of 56 to 41. The resolution is a War Powers Act challenge to the unauthorized U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen and would require the U.S. to cease its involvement if a complementary bill passes in the House. 45 years to the day after the War Powers Act was passed, this is the first successful challenge to it. Several amendments were also voted on, with most passing and added to the bill. Senator Young's amendment clarified that this bill includes a prohibition on refueling Saudi warplanes, as both the administration and opponents argued that did not count as war. Senator Cornyn offered and passed 3 amendments, 2 mandating reports be provided, and a third that said despite this bill not being anything about Israel, the opposition to the war in Yemen was not meant to oppose anything the U.S. does with Israel. Senator Tom Cotton was the only one whose amendments did not pass, as both were designed specifically to undermine the bill. The first said the U.S. could stay in the war as long as they claimed to be trying to reduce civilian casualties, while the second said the U.S. could stay as long as they were fighting the Shiite Houthi movement. Both failed handily. The passage of the resolution caps weeks of efforts in the Senate, including multiple votes, which were needed to advance the bill to the point where it would actually get a substantial debate and a vote of its own. The success of this challenge is historic, and yet it is incomplete at this point. House efforts to challenge the Yemen war have repeatedly been derailed by Republican leadership changing rules at the last minute to deny it a proper vote. This almost certainly means no House version will be entertained until January at the earliest, when the new Congress takes over. The Trump administration has loudly opposed this challenge to the Yemen war, arguing simultaneously that it's not really a war and that U.S. support for Saudi Arabia is so critical that it should not matter how bad the war is. Anger at the Saudis over the murder of Jamal Khashoggi is seen to have driven a lot of the last-minute support for this bill. The Senate also unanimously and without objection passed a resolution condemning Saudi Arabia's murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi and expressed the Senate's sense that the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was responsible for that murder. The resolutions passed mostly because the White House had broadly refused to criticize the Saudis over the murder and also refused to blame the prince, despite the CIA expressing strong confidence that the Crown Prince ordered the murder. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports Alabama's Attorney General said on Thursday he will take over the investigation into the killing of a man by police officers who mistook him as a suspect in a shooting at a shopping mall on Thanksgiving night. In a letter to Jefferson County District Attorney Danny Carr, Attorney General Steve Marshall said he made the decision after Carr admitted the presence of a potential conflict of interest and bias between him and other parties in the case. On Thanksgiving night during Black Friday sales, a police officer in the Birmingham suburb of Hoover shot and killed E.J. Bradford at the River Chase Galleria, believing him to be the gunman in a shooting at the mall that wounded 2 people. Later, police said Bradford was likely not the shooter and that the actual gunman remained at large. A suspect was arrested days later. Marshall said in his letters that the officer who shot Bradford was either the charging officer or a witness in about 20 unrelated cases. The DA's office could be suspected of trying to protect the officer because his testimony might be important in the other cases. Marshall also said the DA had acknowledged personal relationships with some of the protesters who called for the officer who shot Bradford to be criminally prosecuted. Marshall said that in addition to taking over the investigation into Bradford's death, he was taking over the investigation of the 2 people wounded in the mall shooting. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
As a police officer, I constantly live in fear that I might be filmed brutalizing a civilian. It's something you know from the time you're a cadet. The slightest civil rights infraction in front of anyone who's looking, and the next thing you know, you're surrounded by cameras and trending on Twitter. No cop should have to worry about that. Practically every precinct I know has somebody serving desk duty just for acting on deeply rooted prejudices when somebody had a recording device on them. It happened to my partner, and it even happened to our own captain. One day he's just kicking an unarmed pedestrian in the ribs when all of a sudden people with cameras are everywhere, and then they just start shooting what he was doing, all 6 minutes of it. I can't help but think sometimes that could have been me ending up at that desk job. You never know which day of total impunity will be your last, but for a cop, that's just our daily reality.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off hour number 3. You can call in and talk live with us. The us in studio is Darryl.
And Chris.
And Jackie.
And those call-in lines are available over at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got the Discord call-in lines available over at discord.lrn.fm. And generally, the sound quality is better on Discord than on a regular landline. Again, generally, not always the case. But let's go to the phones where we've got Dan calling in from, I believe this is supposed to be Louisiana, might be Los Angeles. Dan, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Metairie, Louisiana.
Yep. You're on the air. Go ahead with your thoughts.
We started the show, I thought, was talking about what sort of living conditions suited people. Am I correct?
Well, we started off talking about the Department of Education, and then it went into a discussion where somebody had called in and they were talking about some of the guaranteed contracts that were given out after Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast. And then it kind of went into a discussion about living conditions for a little bit.
Okay. That's the one I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, go ahead.
And we start saying what would be a living condition for certain people, and it kind of went around in my mind, and I was thinking about some of the more upper class things that we don't consider as places for humans to live, such as these freight containers. They go on the back of 18-wheelers. People are now taking them and making real houses out of them, putting plumbing in and air conditioning, yet they were not made for that purpose. I was just wondering if that would pass as non-living conditions for whatever the free stuff that they were trying to give away.
I mean, I think if they've repurposed it and they've put in like electrical and plumbing, at that point, it is intended for human habitation.
That's just the building materials, right? So
yeah, it's
a metal box, basically.
Right, but based on the way some of the building codes are written, that repurposed shipping crate might not meet the building codes in certain areas because they don't have studs every 18 inches or whatever it is.
Well, I mean, local building codes vary widely. So
right. Well, most of the local municipalities, they're adopting like a uniform code to where, like building code in New Hampshire is not going to be vastly different from Massachusetts or California or Oklahoma.
Yeah, but people are definitely taking those shipping containers and repurposing them. And I know that like people have stacked them up and built apartment complexes out of them in some places. So obviously they're integrating them into the code somehow.
Right. And people have also taken decommissioned airplanes and they've converted those into, basically a big giant mobile home.
Yeah. So I think once you've gone in and you've put in like electric and plumbing and whatnot, at that point, you've converted into something that is intended for human habitation.
And there's this other guy on TV that's making tree houses. It looked very elaborate. I wonder if they could get away with the same stuff.
Possibly. A lot of it would wind up depending on local interpretation. And Dan, thank you for the call. Wind up.
I mean, there's always going to be edge
local
cases.
Interpretation of what the building code is. You don't have a wheelchair ramp there, so you can't actually live in it.
But you can live in it. It's just you're going to have difficulties renting it out or actually using it for business purposes. I think is where the wheelchair ramp comes in.
Yeah, usually.
Or like a school. Has to be accessible.
There are some places where they have requirements that all new construction has to have interconnected smoke alarms. So, if your treehouse doesn't have electricity or interconnected smoke alarms, local code enforcement could come in and say, you're not allowed to live here. And we've actually covered stories about people that have...
Who lives in a treehouse?
There are people that do.
Okay.
I don't know the names of them.
But one without electricity?
Yeah, we covered a story on this show a couple of years ago about somebody that was living in an elaborate treehouse, and local code enforcement came in and said, you're not allowed to do that because there was some kind of thing in the local ordinances that all new construction had to be hooked up to the grid, and they weren't hooked up to the grid. See, you got yourself a tiny home there and solar panels. Well, we say that you've got to be connected onto our electrical stuff. Oh, you say you don't want to be connected to our electrical stuff? Here's a thing that says you've got to get off of your own property now.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a bunch of different issues. There's the local code issue. There's whether HUD would consider the person homeless. Then there's whether, like, local homeless human service agencies would consider the person homeless when doing their census of the homeless population.
Right.
Because they usually go out once a year and try and find everybody and count them up. But, they'd miss us. Like, by the HUD definition,
right.
Darryl and I are homeless.
Right. And there's actually a state rep here in New Hampshire that is dealing with some legal instances in his hometown where he doesn't have a certificate of occupancy for his property.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
And I don't know what the latest is on that legal situation, but this guy knows his stuff. Like, he's representing himself, but, as a state rep, one would think state reps know the law. In some cases, they don't. This guy does. And he's got, in my opinion, he's got a very good legal argument. But unfortunately, I think he's probably still going to wind up losing just because, well, the city wound up filing the case and blah, blah, blah. They've got more money. But I think he's retired. He's got the time to wind up taking this, as far through the courts as
he's probably got a
wants
50-50 chance of winning because he's right. If he was wrong, he'd have even a much, much less possibility of winning.
No, if you're right, I think you've got about a 30% chance of winning because judges are
30%, huh?
Judges are generally biased towards municipal lawyers at the local level. Anyway, you move up to the appeals court, and I think it then bumps up to about a 50 to 60% chance. But the local district judges, they're going to wind up siding with the local municipality more
I'm
times
thinking about like
than
when the
not.
law is clearly on your side type of situation.
Well, this is one of those things to where the state law appears to be on his side. The local ordinance, not so much, but he has a good legal argument.
So speaking of judges, I have some breaking news.
All of them retired?
No, a federal court in Texas judge just declared Obamacare is now unconstitutional. And it says, this is from The Hill, this just happened, just broke an hour ago. The reasoning of the ruling states that in 2012, the Supreme Court upheld the mandate to have coverage because of Congress's power to tax.
Right.
So that's why they originally ruled it was constitutional.
Right, but
last year, Congress removed the fine for failing to comply with the mandate, which he argues, he being the judge, means the mandate is no longer a tax and therefore is unconstitutional. In a controversial move, the judge added that because the mandate is essential to the rest of the law, without the mandate, the entire law is invalid. So it's going to go back to the Supreme Court.
Interesting.
Wow. That is super interesting.
Well, one thing that was pointed out after that 2012 ruling where the court said, it's legal because it's a tax and Congress has the authority to tax. Well, the Constitution says that all taxes or all new taxes must originate in the House of Representatives. The Patient Protection Affordable Care Act originated in the Senate. So if it was a tax, it should have been deemed unconstitutional because it didn't originate in the proper house.
Yeah, but I mean, this...
Interesting. What was that argument made? If the argument's not made, they can't do anything
The argument wasn't made because the court hadn't deemed it to be a tax yet.
True.
How can I make an argument that the judge hasn't ruled yet?
But it's going to have to go back to the Supreme Court now.
Interesting. More on that maybe, plus your calls and thoughts, and feds finding a business for selling something that they were allowed to sell. This is Free Talk Live.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
When do you want to spot that burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's in? Ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while his family was home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a package thief. Blink motion-activated cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. Save up to a whopping 40% off all add-on cameras and systems through December 22nd while supplies last. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
It seems like we're constantly hearing different fitness advice. Exercise 2 to 3 times a week for at least 30 minutes a day. And don't forget cardio. But don't exercise too much or you'll get hurt. So, how much exercise should you be getting? Well, actually not that much, since the human body is only built to withstand walking a short distance before lying or sitting down again. In fact, a group of biologists from Stanford found that walking more than 5 feet at a time can cause joint pain, fatigue, and even extreme hunger. The study concluded that the maximum effort the human body can safely endure is reaching for an item high on a shelf. Our bodies simply aren't built to stand up and move around. So maybe those high-intensity spin classes and daily jogs aren't such a good idea. Instead of walking up the stairs every day, try taking the elevator whenever possible. You can even use a fitness tracker to let you know when you've been exerting too much energy. Your body will appreciate it. For The Onion, I'm Jill Hooper.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Jackie.
And, we talked a little bit earlier about, the usage of crypto has gone up. And apparently, some people are having trouble figuring out how to actually spend their cryptocurrency. Well, if you operate a retail business and you're looking for a point of sale for accepting cryptocurrency, well, it's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process needed to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses into the setup page, and then load the app. Or you can now actually download an app instead of using what's referred to as a progressive web app. And that's it. You're ready to accept cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, Zcash, and more to come. Again, get started over at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global. And Jackie, you just sort of broke a story about a judge in Texas, federal judge, ruling that the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act is wholly unconstitutional because the individual mandate was repealed by Congress, and the individual mandate was what was used as justification by the Supreme Court back in 2012 to uphold the PPACA as being constitutional because the mandate was deemed a tax.
Well, I mean, the mandate's there, but Congress removed the fine, and the fine was the tax, and so since they removed the tax last year, it's no longer justifiable. And they said because the mandate is essential to the rest of the law, without the mandate, the entire law is now invalid. Because the mandate is no longer a tax because you don't have to pay anything if you don't get health insurance.
What was the level of court here? I know you said a federal court, but was it
is
just a circuit court? It wasn't or rather a district court, not the full circuit, I'm guessing.
I'm looking here. I'm not finding it in the Hill article. Let me look at the other. U.S. District Judge.
Right. So, all right, this is probably just one of the smaller ones. So before it winds up getting to the Supreme Court, it would have to go to the full circuit. And I think Texas is in the same circuit that's based out of New Orleans. And then after that, it would wind up maybe going to the Supreme Court. But it takes a long time for things to work their way through. But this is definitely something that is going to be interesting because I forget which one of you had mentioned off air that apparently the deadline for signing up for like new coverage or something is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's well, why don't you keep going with the story because it's there's an interesting point that one of the people in the story make out towards the end of the story.
Let me just go ahead and jump down towards the end where it says Democrats accused the judge of waiting until the election to issue the ruling, saying he knew striking down the law before the election would harm Republicans. The court case, brought by 20 GOP-led states, was at the center of this year's campaign after Democrats attacked Republicans for supporting the lawsuit and seeking to overturn Obamacare's protections for pre-existing conditions. The Trump administration, in a rare move, declined to defend the law in court and instead argued the pre-existing condition protections should be overturned. Nicholas Bagley, a law professor at the University of Michigan, posted on Twitter that he thinks the ruling does not prevent the Affordable Care Act from remaining in effect while the appeals process plays out because there's no injunction from the court.
And there you go, right there. So it sounds like you'll still be able to get coverage and continue with your plan.
Yeah, because as part of the Affordable Care Act were these healthcare exchanges, and the whole thing is very convoluted.
It's not that convoluted.
But if you like your doctor, you can keep the doctor unless the doctor decides not to be a doctor anymore.
I mean, I think most paperwork is straightforward, and I found it straightforward. But I also am one of those people that goes through and calculates her taxes on her own. So
let's jump to something else involving the feds. This story from Reason. California-based online retailer has been ordered to pay a penalty of $60,000 for selling non-corrective, purely cosmetic contact lenses without first obtaining prescriptions for the non-prescription products. So let me read that again for the slow people in the back. There was a company in California that was selling something, an over-the-counter product, but they're being penalized for not requesting prescriptions for something that does not require a prescription.
So are these like the ones that give you, red eyes or cat eyes or purple eyes?
That's what it sounds like. The picture on the article from Reason shows somebody with the V for Vendetta mask as the eye. But again, these are non-corrective, purely cosmetic contact lenses. The FTC says Lawrence Duskin repeatedly violated the agency's contact lens rule, which stipulates that retailers can sell contact lenses only after obtaining a copy of a valid prescription or otherwise verifying the consumer's prescription, with the physician who issued it. The rule applies even to non-corrective lenses like the ones Duskin has been selling through a variety of online costume shops since at least 2014. The commission initially fined Duskin $575,000, the largest fine ever issued for a violation of the contact lens rule, before suspending all but $60,000 on the condition that Duskin comply with a variety of record-keeping and administrative requirements.
Wait, so they're agreeing with him now, and they're letting him continue, yet they're still going to fine him $60,000?
No. They're not saying you can continue. They're saying you can continue if you wind up doing all of the record keeping that we say that you have to do.
Okay.
You want to sell these contact lenses that turn somebody's eyes purple? Get their prescription from their doctor.
Now, it sounds like
Despite
even
the fact
though
that there's no...
Well, here's the issue. So even though they're not using them to correct vision, apparently contact lenses come in different sizes, depending on the size of your eyeball. And they say the risk is if you get the wrong sized contact, it could cause damage to the eyeball.
Right, and if I poke myself in the eyeball trying to get one of my eye hair... there's all kinds of ways that people can hurt their eyeball that don't require prescriptions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that should be the law, but the reason for it is it's not just the same as, getting, pretend glasses. It's going in your eye, and it has to apparently be sized for your eye, and that's part of the prescription, even if you're not getting them for corrective lenses.
Reason continues, it's probably pretty easy to understand why Duskin wasn't verifying his customers' prescriptions. You wouldn't expect to have to check for a prescription before selling a pair of goofy costume glasses or Quidditch goggles for a Harry Potter cosplay. An attorney for the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection says the strict rules are necessary because contact lenses are more intrusive than a pair of glasses. There's more on this, plus your calls and thoughts, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Jackie.
And there's more to this story that we'll jump into in just a second, but want to make sure that we thank Cam Cakes, who is a platinum amplifier we've been going through over the last couple of months and thanking the amplifiers individually. And tonight, Cam Cakes, you are getting thanked for, again, being a platinum amplifier, going above and beyond the minimum $5 that we do ask of the amplifiers. And the AMP program, again, $5 a month, and it helps us do three things: advertise, market, and promote the show, specifically to program directors to try to get the show on more radio stations, but also to try getting more listeners because, at the end of the day, we're really trying to spread the ideas of liberty, and your dollars combined with other people's dollars help us do that. And you can learn more about the AMP program and find out all of the perks that you get over at amp.freetalklive.com. Jumping back into the article here from Reason about the company Lawrence Duskin that was fined by the FTC, originally $575,000. That was reduced down to $60,000 because they were selling non-corrective, purely cosmetic contact lenses without first obtaining a prescription for a non-prescription product. Again, the FTC said that they decided to reduce the fine on the condition that Duskin comply with a variety of record-keeping and administrative requirements. An FTC spokesman, or rather attorney for the FTC, Elisa Bernstein, says, quote, "It's a medical device that's regulated by the FDA, and it's something that goes directly into your eye. Getting the wrong size contact can be a serious health risk." Reason says, yes, there are potential risks with sticking things in your eye, especially tiny pieces of plastic that go on the front of your eyeball. Those risks should be pretty obvious to anyone who is voluntarily buying novelty contact lenses, and those consumers have a pretty good incentive to make sure that they get the right size. Requiring a prescription just doesn't make much sense, not least because it's unclear how you go about getting a prescription for contact lenses that don't correct your vision. And if you buy a gold and diamond encrusted grill for your teeth, also an FDA-regulated medical device, by the way, and one that comes with a list of potential health risks without needing a prescription from a dentist, seems like the same standard should apply here. This is not merely a theoretical debate over the best way to regulate or deregulate costume eyewear. The mandatory prescription rule is one of the reasons why actual prescription contact lenses are more expensive than they should be. Because of the rule, most contact lens sales are handled by the same people who make contact lens prescriptions. It's an uncommon arrangement, and one that leads to a cozy relationship between manufacturers and the doctors who can steer patients towards their brand, as Veronica de Ruggi, a senior fellow at the Mercatus Center at George Mason University, wrote in a 2016 piece for Reason. She said prescriptions are brand specific. This makes it difficult for consumers to shop around. Choosing a different brand requires paying for another eye exam in order to obtain a new prescription. Now, this is not something that I knew. Jackie, you wear eyeglasses.
Yes.
The prescription for your eyeglasses, it's not brand specific to, lenses made by one particular company, is it?
No.
So why would contact lens prescriptions be specific to one particular contact lens manufacturer?
Corruption.
They say here, eliminating the contact lens prescription requirement would increase competition and lower prices by allowing consumers more freedom to shop around. It works that way in Europe and Japan, but the estimated 40 million Americans who wear contact lenses don't have that option. More affordable and readily available contact lenses would also allow more people who need corrective lenses to have them. And of course, it would put an end to the silliness like the federal government handing down a 6-figure fine for selling a piece of costume.
Yeah, I mean, it basically sounds like, somebody's tried to set up various business arrangements where they can try and get a monopoly or quite a bit of market power by saying, oh, you can only, contacts should be sort of a customizable product, but otherwise a commodity, not like, oh, you can only get this type or that type. Like they've basically, it's like computers and proprietary hardware. They've basically come up with proprietary hardware for your eyeballs where, oh, well, if you want to go and get a different brand, you have to go and get a whole new prescription because the measurements for this brand won't translate to measurements for the other brand.
Right.
And so it's just an annoying thing that businesses try to do sometimes where they want to lock you in to their particular product by deliberately making it not compatible with other products.
Right, and I think that there are some car companies that are trying to do that with certain things. Obviously, they can't do it with, say, tires.
Yet.
Yeah, just wait.
I'm sure at some point it will get there, but, tires are fairly universal as long as you've got the right size, but it's not one of those things of a Goodyear tire will not work on a Yugo. Goodyear tires will work on a Yugo, just make sure it's the right size. Now, I will say stay away from Ford and Firestone because we know how that ended about 15, 20 years ago.
That's right.
But, there are other things where certain internal pieces within engines might not work properly if you try going, off-brand or aftermarket.
Yeah, you have to, for a lot of parts for cars, you have to get the part from, that type of car.
Right.
You can't just, it won't physically fit.
They're artificial restrictions, so they would otherwise work if the manufacturer didn't have a little device in whatever it was that said it won't communicate if it detects a non-certified component that to work with, basically.
I mean, they're even trying to do that with printer ink cartridges.
Yep, that's absolutely done with printer ink cartridges.
Yeah, and we covered the story about the unauthorized John Deere repair people.
Now, I have a question, fellow libertarians who dislike government regulation and think, oh, the market will solve all problems. What do you do when companies just want to do a dick move like this and just arbitrarily make proprietary parts so you can only buy things from them?
I have an answer to this. Stop buying their stuff. But also, there's another thing. There's another issue here. One of the reasons that they get away with it is because the government has allowed them to use copyright and intellectual property laws basically patent laws to get into this situation in the first place. Without those laws, companies, and other companies that want to compete with them have figured out how to work around their digital restrictions. And then they sell a product, but then they get sued. So they get to court.
So you're against property rights.
I don't believe in the imaginary property rights that government has created when it comes to copyright, trademark.
You're kind of on board with the libertarian socialists. They don't believe in imaginary property rights when it comes to land. But
imagine it's not imaginary. Land is not imaginary. It's a tangible thing that you can hold in your hand.
The right to it is imaginary.
The libertarian socialists don't say that land doesn't exist. They're saying that
it can't be owned.
Right.
That
they're
you're
saying
not using.
that shared resources cannot be privately owned.
Like if it's not like a house that you're personally using and living in, your property right to where someone else is living is imaginary. That's their argument. So it's very interesting because there's been this whole freak out within the Libertarian Party about libertarian socialists. And it's like, but then libertarians will sit and say, oh, well, I'm against intellectual property rights. And it's like, okay, well, obviously we all have different ideas of what can be property.
This is Free Talk Live. You can find us online at freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
Trading involves financial risk. It is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
All right, it's another edition of the Edgington Post Show. I am Mark Edge, and today I have with me a longtime friend on the internet, Luis Fernando Mises. Luis, you there?
Yes, I am here. Thank you for having me, sir.
Yeah. Luis, you are one of the people that works over at The Dollar Vigilante, who's basically Jeff Berwick, the guy who's putting on Anarchapulco. But I wanted to get a chance to talk about this Dollar Vigilante Summit that's going on in conjunction with Anarchapulco.
Yes, it's actually a really great thing that's happening prior to Anarchapulco. So Anarchapulco is the second half of the week, and the summit is the first half of the week. And historically, what's happened is that we have a lot of subscribers, and they come here to hear people that write for the newsletter and some guests that we also bring about to help everybody understand things better, to help them see investments that could happen that could yield a lot of good money. We're going to have Ed Burgess, we're going to have Doug Casey, we're going to have Jeff Tucker, obviously Jeff Berwick and myself. And the part where I get to contribute with is the Dollar Vigilante groups. I am the manager of the Dollar Vigilante groups. And what that is it's a perk to be, a member of the Dollar Vigilante. And we have groups all over the world, and they're on Facebook. And we are currently working to put those in our actual website to avoid any kind of, Zuckerberg manipulation as well.
Yeah, Facebook's a great way to find new people and talk to new people. It's a terrible way to put together events, that's for sure. And you never know, at any time they can decide, well, we don't like what you're talking about anymore.
Oh, gosh, that's happened. I have literally been blacklisted from Facebook, and I currently have to use a VPN and a different name and tell them that I'm in China or something. I changed my VPN's location, because my actual IP address has been blacklisted. So yeah, I know the pain of that.
So what are the kind of things that people are going to find out if they go to the Dollar Vigilante website or go to the Dollar Vigilante event?
Well, I will tell you, I'm going to share a little bit of a conversation that I had. I'm a leadership development consultant, and in one of the classes we had a guest, vice president of a really big construction firm in the United States, and I cannot disclose the name of the person or the company. Whenever we're in Acapulco, I could probably talk at more freedom about this in person. But what I was asking this person is, hey, I follow the economy pretty closely, and according to my calculations, it seems like there's something big coming up. There's something like 08 or even stronger. And what he said to me, he said, you know what, Luis, what's happening is not that we're going to have a complete debacle, but the market is changing. The market is switching, and it's becoming very, very different. So what people can expect at the Dollar Vigilante Summit is perspective on how this new switch is happening and how we can benefit from it financially, and also investment opportunities and other things that a lot of our speakers will be talking about. So it's not there's a lot of doom and gloom situation, but this is actually a fantastic opportunity. Most of the biggest wealths in the history of mankind have happened during recession times. And it's not, again, an explosion of horribleness. It's just a shift of the market.
Right. People look at the stock market as though it is the thing that defines how well the world's doing this way or that way. But, wealth can be gained in a variety of different ways, whether it's bonds, loaning money to businesses, whether it's, precious metals, real estate. There's a variety of different ways that one can gain wealth. It's, not all stock reporting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, for instance, precious metals, I would not even say that those are investments. Those are hedges towards, they're insurance. So you can keep money. I have gold and silver and some other things, and those are there for insurance in case, it's a fan. But there's other ways, like you said, real estate is a really big one. And even though there may be a downturn, there's always people with a lot of money that will be moving things around. And if you're one of those, this is a fantastic opportunity for people to learn what we can do.
And who's the right person to go to this Dollar Vigilante Summit?
That is a difficult question. I would say that definitely people that are a little bit more seasoned in investment, like if they know, how to do money speak, if you will. This is not always a 101, but it's a fantastic opportunity to learn a lot if you are just getting your feet wet into the idea of finances.
What are some of the things you're predicting personally? What are you seeing? What's Dollar Vigilante predicting for, sort of the worldwide economy right now?
Well, there's actually people that are going to be talking about that. I don't want to give away the farm, but what, Ed Burgos and Jeff Berwick and Rafael Laverde are talking about in the newsletter is basically how we all can benefit from the upcoming things. As you can see it, like France is like in a really horrible situation, and it's not just about the Paris Agreement. It's not just about carbon taxing and all those things. They have like an entire list of 30 things that they're asking the government for. And then if you remember just, a year or two ago, Cyprus went through this, and then Greece went through this. So this is actually getting closer to, United States. As you can see now, there's also a slowing or more constipated economy happening here, getting us ready to the switch. So I just want to invite people that want to protect their assets, and not just protect their assets, but to increase their capital to be able to come to this event. And as like I was telling you, one of the parts where I focus on is in the groups. It's sometimes kind of challenging when you are relatively awake to the state of affairs of the government. We feel lonely a lot of times. So this event also helps us connect with liberty-minded individuals. And to me, that's a really important thing. We are able to make long friendships with people all over the world. A lot of times we have more in common with somebody from, 2,000, 3,000 miles away than what we have with our neighbors.
I really feel that way when I'm at Anarchapulco. A lot of the people that come for the Dollar Vigilante Summit stay over for Anarchapulco. I've only ever sort of flown in, gone to Anarchapulco, and left. But yeah, I would absolutely say that I have met these people, and you're absolutely right. I have more in common with them than I do in many times people who are right in my own town. And it's, I guess I have many things that are in common with them more so than people in town, and, so a few things in common with the folks in town too. And I think that, it's well worth the adventure. There's worse places to be than Acapulco in February, that's for sure.
A lot of people say, hey, it's the fourth most dangerous city in the world. Why the hell are you there? I mean, number one, we can dissect this in many, many ways. But number one, if you're not connected with any kind of cartel or criminal activity, it's very unlikely that something's going to happen to you,
Yeah, I'd like to know about how, for international visitors, how dangerous is it? Because I've been there multiple times, walking around on the streets, sometimes even, at night, and, multiple times at night, and never felt in any way threatened.
Yeah, just like Acapulco is a big city, and it's an old city. And anybody that has visited cities know that there are places to avoid, and then most other places that are nice. So, if you just practice common sense and you don't go to, it's like going to pretty close to downtown in Philadelphia, towards the east side. Like nobody wants to go there.
Yeah.
And same thing in LA, same thing in Mexico City. So all of those places have these holes, if you will. So just staying, practicing common sense, using Uber, not getting, drunk and into starting problems, just common sense stuff. Now, out of that situation, we in the summit, we're going to be in probably one of the best resorts in the entire American continent, if you will.
It's gorgeous.
So it's beautiful. So aside from the fact that, it's really not even dangerous at all, we're going to be in the nicest part of town. So where there's all sorts of private security and people are fine. This is where all the actors and actresses and Johnny Cash had a house there. The guy that owned Microsoft, what's his name? Bill Gates has a house there. So this is an area that's pretty posh. So nothing is ever going to happen there.
Right. A lot of people, it's an undiscovered jewel, Acapulco. If you get a chance to go down to the main city, this is the sort of resort area, Diamante, which is great. But if you get a chance to go to the main city, it's great to, tootle around in a taxi cab, see some of the sights. It's wonderful. Where can people go for the website to check this out?
Well, there is one for dollarvigilante.com and then just anarcapulco.com.
Excellent. Thank you, Luis. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101. If it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid